What's up, y'all? Anthony Taylor here. I hope you're doing great. It is my first live stream using my new Canon camera. Thank you, Rob Balasabas, for guiding me with that. Really hoping to make some awesome content for y'all. And it's Friday and it's after Thanksgiving, and I really wanted to make sure that I got a live stream Friday for you and came up with some great content. So if you enjoy what we talk about here on strategy and leadership, be sure to give us a like and subscribe. Really, I'm going to aim for 18 likes on this video. And what I wanted to talk to you today about was the difference between progress and activity. The difference between progress and activity, because in the past week, I've seen a lot of different organizations, different people that I've worked with personally have been so focused on doing stuff, they're unsure if really moving it forward, or that they don't know what to do and it's causing a lot of waste. So I'm going to take you a couple steps back. The difference between progress and activity. A lot of employees, a lot of team members, you might remember this from like school projects when you were a kid, and you just wanted to like look like you were doing work. You wanted to look busy because that's what was important. Now, if you're in school and you're not working on something, really critically important, then activity is sort of fine. But when you're dealing with organizations, when you're working with teams that actually are trying to accomplish something, or if you're like me, you're trying to run your own business, it's critical that you can make a distinction between progress and activity. One of the things that's happened that's been just part of COVID life, for me at least, has been not traveling. I used to be on a plane almost every week, going to different city, different state, different country, working on strategic projects. And even for myself, I recognized that I was super, super busy and I was doing billable hours. I was doing all that important stuff. But I've actually really realized over the past 6 months that I'm accomplishing more, being able to focus, being able to really drive home what's important and being able to move forward on important projects, and not just being busy, being on a plane and having that suboptimal time. So I wrote some notes here. By the way, I don't know if the stream is working. I'm testing this for the first time. I updated to Big Sur and I was able to lose a driver from the past one. So hopefully it works. But I want to talk about a couple causes of if you have a team. So if you have a team and you're feeling like they're busy, but they're not actually moving forward, then there's a couple things that I want you to consider as you sort of diagnose and look at what might be happening. So the first is lack of targets. They have nothing specific moving them forward. They don't have anything that they're aiming at. They don't know where to shoot. When we do our strategic plan audits, or we have a customer coming in or potential customer coming in and we look at their past strategic plan, it's endemic. With so much, we made a video called The Difference Between Goals and Objectives. And so often they have these broad themes that they're trying to focus on with no specific targets. So if you don't have a specific target, you're not actually going to be able to accomplish what there is to accomplish because you don't know what you're aiming at. You don't know how much of anything is required in order to move it forward. So if you feel like your team is really busy without accomplishing anything, I want you to consider that you might not have targets in place. If you have targets in place, then the second thing I want you to consider is a lack of understanding, a lack of connection to the bigger strategy and understanding why we're prioritizing one thing over another. So, strategy is choosing, it's doing one thing instead of doing something else. So if your team is busy and they are moving the needle forward, do they understand what the actual strategy is and the purpose behind that? And the third piece, or the third reason why you might have a bunch of activity, people looking busy, but not actually moving forward, is that you don't have a strategy. I watched this video of Gary Vee the other day, and he was talking about sort of his investing strategy and what he did for businesses. And then he wanted to, go from like a K-Swiss to a, bigger, I can't remember what the brand that he said he wanted to buy or whatever. But along the way, he had a lot of businesses, a lot of them grew, a lot of them failed. He wasted and lost a lot of money. And for him, it wasn't a problem because he had a bigger strategy behind him. If you remember a couple of years ago when Facebook was starting, everybody's like, well, how can Facebook be so big? They don't have a revenue model, but for Mark Zuckerberg, I assert, and the board and the team was, we have a bigger strategy. We have a bigger picture in place that we're not going to get distracted by, the short or immediate term metrics. We're saying longer term metrics. Here's our longer term play that if we accomplish that, that's going to be successful. Short of actually having that strategy, people are going to look at what is the easiest thing I can do? What is the sort of shortest bridge for my mind to go? And in that case, it's just being busy, doing busy work, staying focused on what's right in front of me instead of, is this really getting me to where we want to go? So, I just looked at an action planning list, and I'm sure your teams have those where they have a list of all the stuff that they want to accomplish. And as soon as I opened it, and if you're watching this, how I reacted, I just my heart just started beating faster because I'm like, oh my God, I know what I'm going to expect here. I know it's going to be a wish list of items. I know it's like everybody thought that they had a good idea. And I'm not saying they're bad ideas. It's just the list that we have, this brainstorm action list, didn't have any alignment with our strategic priorities, didn't have any targets or KPIs attached to them, and it was all busy work. And so the problem with that is that you have everybody going in a bunch of different directions and nothing is really moving forward. So I encourage you to be able to ask yourself and ask your team why. Why this? Why now? And how does it contribute to our overall strategy and direction? And if you don't have an overall strategy and direction, well, that's a good place to start. Is you want to look at, hey, do we have those targets? Do we have that vision? Do we have where we want to go? What it'll do is it'll give you discipline. It'll give you diligence. It means as a team and as a muscle as a team, you're going to start developing a muscle for only doing critical projects. Now, there's the difference between strategic and operational, and we're going to talk about that in another video. I'm sure we will. But having the discipline as a team to say, hey, is this what we're supposed to be doing? Is this what we're supposed to be doing now? And does it really tie in with that bigger picture? The other thing that it'll do, and this is you probably won't find this written anywhere, is it's gonna get, you probably won't find it because there's gonna be a curse word coming up, so it's not safe for work. Okay, it's gonna allow bullshit on anything that isn't critical work, because you're gonna see people doing stuff, and you're gonna say, "Is that critical? Do we need to do it?" Now, in principle, it seems like that should be obvious, that you should, as a team member, be able to call somebody out on doing work that is not important or not strategic work. The problem is, with most organizations operating without a clearly communicated direction, clearly outlined strategy with metrics, there's no safety net of clarity to fall back on. So instead of having the confidence that you can rely on calling out bullshit that isn't aligned with the strategy, you're feeling like, oh, is this really what we should be doing? I don't want to pick on this person. I think what they're doing is dumb. This is not important. We should be doing this. We should be doing this. We should be doing this, versus actually having that clearly articulated plan that you can say, does it fall within one of these strategic priorities? Is this going to drive our KPIs forward? If not, we shouldn't be doing it. And so there's a lot of people on your team that are super smart, but they are resigned to the operation or the sort of environment that they operate in. You as a leader might not have given them the support that they need to really lead effectively. I'm going to say that again. You as a leader might not have given your team members the support they need in order to lead effectively, especially when you're not there. And what's worse is when you're in the room, they don't feel like you have their back because you're not supporting them and calling that bullshit. And that's it. Is you can, if you don't make the difference between strategic work and the movement or the stuff that's going to make you progress versus just being busy, then as an organization, you're not going to be able to accomplish as much as you want to. You're going to waste time and money. You're going to erode the confidence of your leadership because they're going to expect you to be leading those strategic initiatives. And without a map, without guidance, without support, they're not going to be able to do that. And you're ultimately not going to accomplish your strategic plan because you're just focused on being busy and looking good versus actually moving that forward. Now, it's not a personal thing. I'm not saying you're a bad leader if you don't have that. I just mean that from a system structure perspective, you just don't have what you need in order for you to be successful. You don't have what you need for your people to be successful. And ultimately, it comes back on your shoulders because you're the leader. So one of the things that we ask people when they come, we ask every single person when they come to our website, what is your biggest challenge with strategic planning? So I just pulled a couple from the top 100 from the past day or two. And number one was productivity. 2 was packing in too much. And 3 is prioritization. Hey, they all start with P. I didn't even realize that. So productivity, packing in too much, prioritization. If you're having challenges with that, then I encourage you to look back at your strategy meetings, look back at your operations meetings, look at your team meetings and say, hey, are we doing stuff that's keeping us busy? Or are we doing things that are going to keep us moving forward and bringing progress to our plan, progress to our team? So that's what I want you to think about this weekend. I'll leave that in your hands to think, reflect, see, are you doing that? And if I'm bonus challenges, it doesn't really matter what you think. I invite you to ask your team members. What do your team members think? Is that clarity there? Do they know where they need to be spending their time? And I encourage you, I just know what'll happen is if they don't have that direction, as soon as you give them direction, they're going to be 10, 20, 30, 40, 50% more productive because instead of wasting their time on non-essential projects, they're going to be able to allocate time, money into those strategic projects, and you're going to make huge progress. So my name is Anthony Taylor. Hope you enjoyed today's video. Would love your comments below in this video. We'll put a link to the difference between goals and objectives clip when it comes out. And like I said, would love to get 18 likes on this video. I watch a lot of gamer videos and that's what they do. And ultimately, the more people that get to see this video, the more successful they're going to be. And it's going to help us build and grow a thriving strategy community. So I hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to subscribe, hit the button if you liked it, and we will catch you all next time. Thanks, everybody. Oh.